What if I told you that it's so impossible to become an Australian citizen in 2026 that so many say the only way to beat it is to literally cheat? But as a dumb American traveler in Australia, today I'm taking the citizenship test to see how impossible it is. I hope we don't have to memorize all the prime ministers all the way to the beginning, cause I literally only know Elbow and Barack Obama. But now let's get the details out of the way. In your typical citizenship test, y'all will have to go through 20 questions, each more impossible than the last. And y'all have to be at least 75% correct. Otherwise, you can kiss your Australian dream goodbye. Who can deliver a welcome to country? A. An Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander custodian of the land. That sounds about right. And B. Anyone who lives on the land. And C. A master of ceremonies at the event on the land. I literally don't know what any of those mean, but to give a welcome to anything, y'all have to be significant to the land and the people. So I'm picking A, the Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. Next up, on Anzac Day, we remember A, the arrival of the first fleet from Great Britain. I think that's Australian Day, not Anzac Day. B, the creation of an independent Australian nation. Nah, that also sounds like Australian Day, mate. And C, all Australians who have fought and died in wars. Now, since my first ever day in Brisbane was literally Anzac Day, I know it has everything to do with wars and honoring the fallen. So it has to be C, right? Next one, when did the separate colony join together to become the Australian nation? A, 1601. That sounds a bit early. B, 2001. And C, 1901. So there ain't no way it's 1601. But Australia as a nation is only like 100 or something years old, right? And 2001 is too late. So 1901 it is. What is Australia's capital city? This should be easy. A, Brisbane. B, Perth. And finally a C, Canberra. Wait a second, where is Sydney, mate? Is this thing broken? So Sydney is not the capital? Well, it can't possibly be Perth, even though I love that city. And Brisbane doesn't look like a capital to me. So are y'all saying it's Canberra, mate? What are the colors of the Australian Aboriginal flag? Bro, I don't even need the answer. It's black and red with a yellow circle in the middle. My Aussie mate is literally Aboriginal, bro. If I failed this, then I'm such a horrible mate. Australians believe in freedom of speech, and that means A, men have more legal rights than women. Those Trump supporters would totally love this, huh? B, people can say what they think about politics. And C, everyone must follow a religion. Oh my gosh. I love how they always seem to put in one that is visibly wrong, just so you only have to pick between two of them. And since we're talking about freedom of speech and not how to build North Korea, the only answer is B. Which is correct in Australian law. A, men have more rights than women. Didn't we just go through this one? Y'all sure this ain't broken? B, women have more rights than men. Dude, we're just going from one extreme to the next, huh? And C, men and women have equal rights. And that's the Australian way. By law, Australian citizens aged 18 or over must A, join the Australian Defence Force. They're totally making fun of North Korea with this one. B, attend a local council meeting. That is also possible. And C, vote in Australian elections. Look, I don't know how old y'all need to be to do one of those council meetings, and that sounds boring. A council meeting? Bro, I would rather eat Vegemite without any bread. So voting at 18 sounds about right. Man, we're almost halfway there, and I'm already feeling a bit Aussie, you know? I will call a bathroom a toilet, yell at anyone who tosses away rubbish, and say hip hip hooray at the end of a happy birthday. Wait, what do y'all mean nobody does that anymore? Next up, in Australia, the government A, tells people which religion to follow. B, makes laws based on the official religion. If only they could do any of those instead of banning social media. And C, is separate from any religion. Come on, we all know which one it is. Which of the following is true? Australian citizens need a visa to enter Australia. If y'all need a visa to enter a place, then you ain't no citizen, bro. B, Australian citizens can get an Australian passport. And C, permanent resident can get an Australian passport. Both B and C sound about right. But a resident doesn't mean you're a citizen, right? So you're only getting a passport in B. The government general represents A. The current Prime Minister, B. A political party, and C. Our head of state, the King of Australia. Wait, y'all have a king in Australia and like nobody talks about them? What is the government general? It can't be a political party. I'm just gonna go with Albo, the Prime Minister. I guess I won't be saying the hip hip parade at parties anytime soon, mate. But the next one should be easier. An Australian election. A. You must write your name on your vote. Wouldn't that make the ballot paper invalid? B. You are free and safe to vote for any candidate. And C. You must tell the police who you voted for. Hello, is it the police? FBI? I'm voting for Kim Jong-un, and you have to know that. Of course it is B. What do y'all think Australia is? In Australia, a referendum is a vote to change A. The Australian government, B. The Australian constitution, and C. The Prime Minister. Okay, so it can't be that easy to change the constitution, right? Like in America, it only happened a handful of times in 300-400 years of history. And it doesn't sound like the public voting like a referendum could change the Australian government. So I guess you use it to make Albo lose his job? Why is it important for people living in Australia to learn English? A. Only native English speaker can become Australian citizen. Mate, I'm so disqualified if that's the case. B. Speaking English helps people get an education and a job. And C. English is the only language spoken in Australian community. Bro, the Aboriginal Australians alone have over 100 native languages, if I'm not mistaken. So there ain't no way Aussie English is the only one, bro. There's a fun piece of data on the internet saying that Aussies collectively use over 400 languages, which is literally more than the whole continent of Europe. And that means there are at least over 400 ways to say hip hip hooray at the end of a happy birthday. Okay, I'm done. But get ready, mates. It only gets more difficult. The Australian Constitution is the legal document that A. can never be changed. It can totally be changed. It's just really unlikely. B. contains rules of government. And C. contains religious rules. Man, when they mention religion, you know they've run out of fake answers. It's the second one, isn't it? In Australia, volunteering is important because A. we have to do it by law. If you have to do anything due to the law, it's A. volunteering, my man. B. it earns people lots of money. Where do I apply to volunteer? I need that money. And C. it strengthens our community. Why are y'all making this so easy, mate? In Australia, we believe in mutual respect and tolerance. This means you can A. only agree with people from the same religion, B. peacefully disagree with someone, and C. physically fight someone when you disagree with them. Which sounds like a way more efficient way to solve a disagreement. Let's be honest, B. it is. Freedom of speech. A. means people do not need to obey the law. B. underpins Australia's democratic system. And C. is not an Australian value. Mate, I really don't know much about the Aussie value outside of not littering and never supporting the local Starbucks. Some of y'all say it tastes like mud. How can you say that? This is at least really expensive mud. Plus, y'all say even I passed the whole test, getting most of it right. And it goes to show you how easy it is to become an Aussie citizen. So next time you want to complain about immigration, don't blame Albo, man. The whole system needs to be fixed. But out of all the things coming into Australia, one company is universally hated by all Australians. And that is why in the next video, I want to find out why Starbucks completely failed in Australia. And now it turns out to have little to do with how they taste.